Hey friends, did you know that the Azure Marketplace is available all over the world in 140 geographic regions? Using AppSource or the Azure Marketplace, you can increase your sales through existing Microsoft channels and global audiences. Ercenk is here to show me how to take advantage of it today on Azure Friday. Hey folks, it's Azure Friday and I'm going to learn all about the Azure Marketplace because I want to put my software as a service offer and integrate it in with Azure. How are you, sir?
Oh, very good, thank you.
So this is pretty exciting. I didn't realize that I don't have to go and sell my software as a service on my own website. I can actually be integrated in Azure.
Correct. That actually works great, especially for the startups.
Mm-hmm. Now, as a startup though, if I'm a US-based startup, I wouldn't even know how to sell in other countries.
Great point. So it turns out that Microsoft has already established relationships in those countries. So there is already, Marketplace is already available there. So basically, the publisher, the ISV, can publish their solution on Azure Marketplace and then make that solution available in that geography.
So if someone's watching right now and they already have a software as a service or some kind of a thing that they want to offer through Azure, you're going to show me how to actually do that integration. And it's going to immediately open up themselves to the entire world as a marketplace.
Correct.
Azure handles taking the money, the taxes, the locality stuff. I suddenly became a global product.
Yes.
All right, I want to see how this works.
And all of your integration is actually with Azure Marketplace. So you publish it once, and you can provide that offer in multiple geographies with multiple different billing options. So you can charge the customer as flat plans or seat-based, or you can add custom meters on top of that so that you can charge the customers with their usages.
Cool, and in this video you're going to show me actually the nitty-gritty. So if you're a publisher and you've always wondered how do you integrate and how do you do that work, we're going to learn right now.
Correct. So what I did, so in fact, I work on the industry experiences team, and I'm focusing on manufacturing ISVs. I'm working with a lot of manufacturing ISVs. They're asking me this question that I've got this awesome solution. How am I going to publish it on Azure Marketplace so that we can reach to the customers? And so that's how I ended up writing a sample, actually, showing them how to do this.
Great.
So my sample is available publicly. And I'm basically focusing on two different things on the sample. First, what are the moving parts when you want to integrate your solution with Azure Marketplace? And the second is that a common question we're receiving is that we have a customer onboarding and provisioning solution already, and it's usually out of band with scripts or a separate system. So do I need to make a lot of code changes so that do I need to integrate it automatically so that it works with Azure Marketplace? And it turns out that you can actually come up with very, very interesting scenarios with the available Azure Marketplace APIs, which got released this May. So in this sample, I'm showing how you can use an existing operations team at the ISV whose job is to onboard a new customer and provisioning the required resources for that customer. So what I do, so let me first go to the integration points. So obviously, a customer once on the Azure Marketplace page, which we will go through the demo, the customer wants to provide some additional information to the ISV, to the publisher, so that the right resources can be published on the ISV side. And depending on the solution, the ISV might be asking different questions. So there's a landing page the ISV needs to provide and it needs to write on their side. Okay. The customer or subscriber is going to land on the landing page, provide the intent, and answer the questions on that simple web form. And then the operations team is going to go ahead and do the required things for onboarding this customer, and then go back to Microsoft Azure Marketplace and say, this subscription is ready on my side, please go ahead and activate it. Once that activation happens, obviously there might be some other things that might be happening for the life of the subscription, things like the customer's payment method being expiring, etc. So there needs to be another out-of-band notification coming from Azure Marketplace side to the to the publisher side, and publisher needs to have this webhook ready so that the notifications can be received and then the appropriate action can be taken. And of course, goes without saying, during this time frame, the solution needs to go and talk to the Azure Marketplace API So there is API communication happening between the solution and the marketplace side. So let me show you how the experience works. But we
Let's
were
do it.
talking about 3 different personas here.
Yeah.
The first persona is the publisher. So as a publisher, how am I going to first create an offer and then tell it to Microsoft Marketplace, commercial marketplace, and publish my solution there? So this all happens through the Partner Center.
Okay.
And in the Partner Center, there's a special place for the commercial marketplace where I can start defining my offer. And then in this example, I have a private offer, because that's the other interesting point. You can have private offers targeting only specific customers for your given offer.
Ah.
So
Okay.
if you have a special pricing for a particular customer that you have a deal with, so you can provide that offer, that special price to that customer. So in this example, I have 4 pricing plans. Those are all flat rate plans. And as a publisher, I create this offer. Then I publish the offer, and then in this example, because I'm still testing the sample, these are all seen as preview offers.
Okay.
So once I publish it, I would expect the customer to have an Azure subscription, go to Azure Marketplace under the SaaS offers. So there is a blade for the SaaS offers. And as an example of a SaaS offer, for instance, your solution may want to send emails and may want to take advantage of another SaaS offer, which is SendGrid. And in fact, my sample makes use of that SaaS offer as well through SendGrid. So
and SendGrid and all of these different people who are in the marketplace have done this work, right?
Correct.
They are examples of software as a service.
Exactly.
They're in the Partner Center. There's someone at SendGrid
Exactly.
that we don't know who logs in and manages their relationships
Correct.
with their customers there.
Correct.
So you can take advantage of them, and you'll be right there next to SendGrid and our other partners.
plus the first party Microsoft solutions, say Visual Studio, for instance.
Everybody's together in the marketplace.
Yes, that's the crucial bit. So you should see Marketplace as a catalog that collects all of the solutions together with first-party solutions, Microsoft services. So it is surfaced as a price list to our internal Microsoft salespeople. And also, it has 2 storefronts, which is, one is Azure Marketplace, which is available through Azure Portal. The other is AppSource, which is targeting the business customers.
That's a really great point that you bring up, because when there's Azure people out there in the world and people in the field that are talking to customers, if you as a partner are in the Azure Marketplace, that's going to make it easier for that salesperson who's working on behalf of Microsoft to go and sell Azure Compute to say, oh, you know, our friends at Hanselman.com are in the marketplace. They're integrated nicely with Azure.
Exactly. And then think like you're a startup who doesn't yet have a Salesforce, global Salesforce. That is a huge, huge advantage. So I'm still the subscriber, so and the customer. So I land on here. I search for this sample. I heard that there's this awesome solution called Microsoft Industry Experiences Sample.
Yes.
Right. So I come in here, and the first thing that I will look at is that what are the plans? What the plans are providing to me. Okay. And I select the plan. I say create. So what happens here is that this is the first step for. Let's do this. This is the first step for, as a subscriber, that I provide my intent to Microsoft. So what happens in the background here is that a placeholder resource is deployed. Okay. Now let's switch to the Azure mode. So a placeholder resource is deployed on the Azure side.
That represents our product.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. And then the customer is provided with an option to configure the account once the deployment is made. And in addition to this, the customer receives an email from Microsoft Marketplace on the email that was configured on the page that I was creating the offer for.
And you're seeing here that it's a very nice integration in the sense that they're getting email from Microsoft on your behalf as the publisher. Correct. They feel that this relationship with Microsoft is being enhanced now because they're talking to you, you the partner.
Exactly. So you have the option, as a customer, you have the option for clicking configure now in your email, or on the subscription that you just created for this offer. Once you click configure account, what happens is that that request is now forwarded to the ISVs or the
Okay.
provider's side.
This is that landing page from that diagram that you
Correct.
showed, because there's the main landing page,
Yes.
almost like there's a checkout flow through a shopping
Yes.
cart of sorts.
Yes.
And there's a moment there where
Yes.
you, as the publisher, need to jump in.
Correct.
And they're already logged in, they have a great experience,
Correct.
and then you give them your information.
Correct. So at this point, landing page requires the customer to be logged on through Azure AD. So we use OpenID Connect here, so it's a
Nice.
requirement, so we know who is coming in, so that we can grab things like the email or the name, full name, from Graph API, because the application asks for consent from the incoming user.
Very cool.
And also, you notice that we can also display things like the offer ID, current selected plan, etc. This is the API interaction I was talking about.
Nice.
So the application goes ahead and asks the Marketplace API, saying that I'm receiving this request. What is it? What is this for, really?
Okay.
Right. And at this point, there's the other thing that I want to bring your attention to. You notice that the purchaser as a persona
Right.
can be different for a customer than the actual set of users.
That's a good point.
Right? So here, I'm Ercenk at Microsoft.com is the purchaser.
Okay.
However, as the purchaser, I can also say, hey, and by the way, this is completely on the publisher side.
Right.
So publisher may choose to expose this as a question and then ask the customer what is going to be, let's say, the target geography you have for when you're using this solution, or who's going to be the business unit contact, so that I can probably go ahead and start configuring the users for your business.
Okay.
So once I submit that, now we are getting back to the sample scenario territory. What the sample does is sample uses SendGrid to send an email to the operations team. So the operations team is going to receive an email saying, hey, there's a new subscription happening. So at this time, the third persona comes into the picture, which is the operations team.
Right.
I say, sweet, there's a new customer. I'll just go and open my PowerShell scripts, and I'll deploy whatever is necessary. Maybe I deploy a different database per customer on my
Right.
solution.
And this can be as automated or not, depending on the size of your startup and how sophisticated your
Exactly.
operations team is.
Exactly, exactly. And then once I finish onboarding process, so I provision everything for my customer as the publisher, I'll just go ahead and click this. And again, this is the samples territory. This is what my sample does.
Right.
And the sample is going to go ahead and now tell Azure Marketplace that I configured everything for this customer. Now you can start charging the customer.
Nice. So here we are logging back into the, doing the OpenID Connect.
Yes. The OpenID Connect here, that's why I want to stress the different personas.
Right.
One persona that I'm including in the sample is the operations team.
Right.
Operations team, and again, this is implementation in the sample. Operations team can also see this view.
So this is an operations dashboard.
Correct. So the operations team can see what are the subscriptions I have and what's the state of the subscription. And the reason I included in the sample is to demonstrate that how you can use the APIs, Marketplace APIs, in different scenarios, so that you can just like, okay, so can I actually go ahead and list all of the subscriptions I have? Who are my customers?
This is really good. We should make sure that we just hit that again, because I want to point out again that we've been jumping around tabs, but you've got the consumer who logs into
Yes.
Azure Portal. You've got the publisher or the startup,
Correct.
Hanselman Industries or whatever, or SendGrid, and they have an offer. They want to expand their opportunities into different marketplaces. And then you have the Hanselman team's operations team, which would,
Correct.
in this case, get to see this view.
Correct.
All right, this is cool. And this is all kind of encapsulated in your ever-growing sample that you've made available to us.
Yes, yes. So this is on GitHub, published on GitHub. And again, to your point, yes, as I learned, because my whole point in building the sample is to show what you can do with the Azure Marketplace APIs. So as I hear more details for any other scenarios, I try to keep my sample up to date so that we can address different scenarios.
Let's, in the end here, return back to the slide and show that aka.ms link.
Okay.
So this is at aka.ms/marketplace sample. You can check this out. This is the diagram, and thank you so much for sharing.
Of course.
All right, I am learning all about the power of the Azure Marketplace, and I hope that I see your products in there soon. I'm learning about it today on Azure Friday.